Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Chai with Gary. Chai, back to back wins.
Oof.
Liverpool, Southampton. When was the last
Fuck.
time you could come out of two games and say, yes, I'm mildly excited, I'm mildly happy? No, despite not playing well,
Yeah.
we still got 3 points.
Look, a lot of things have happened this since last week, I guess. Right. I mean, we both left the show last week saying, okay, if it's a tonal loss, we'll just take it right now and then we'll move on with things, right? Just to portray completely different alternate scenarios, we would have lost to Liverpool. We would have probably be still bottom of the table. We would have gone into Southampton needing that much. At least to open our accounts, right?
Hmm.
So it would have been a completely different mindset going into the Southampton game. But I guess the Liverpool victory did. Um, man, I didn't expect it. Look, I I think we deserve the win, at least
Yeah.
with Liverpool. And I'm so glad it happened. And I think there's a bit of excitement around Old Trafford, around the club itself. There's some cause for excitement, right?
Yeah. I think the
Um,
key is, Chai, there was no way where else we could have gone. We hit rock bottom after the Brentford defeat,
yeah.
4-0 at
Hmm.
home. Was it home? No, sorry, away.
No, away.
Away, regardless, we got hammered. We came into Liverpool game with minimal expectations. I think it was across the board.
Yeah.
Us, fans, the manager, the players, that we had hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
So there was nothing to lose almost, right? Mentality
Hmm.
was let's just go out there and play.
Yeah.
And I think we took the initiative to Liverpool. I think we started out really well. We pushed them really hard.
Yeah.
Liverpool looked somewhat lethargic. I felt they didn't have the right players in midfield,
Hmm.
and they just looked disjointed. Whereas
Yeah.
we really wanted to go into the game with to need the feeling to prove a point. We needed to
Yeah.
prove a point that we could still beat the best team in England, or one of the best
Yeah.
teams in England. And I think we did it, right?
Yeah.
So
And I think we clearly, I think we spoke about it and we kind of dwelled on it the last week as well. We said if anything were to change, at least from the team perspective, we kind of posited saying, look, there has to be personnel changes, and personnel changes there were. I think Ten Hag made some bold moves to drop Maguire and Luke Shaw.
mm,
I think it paid off in the end, but I think it was required. It was required because a lot of people took their positions for granted. I think that Ten Hag would have probably reviewed what we've been doing against the top six when Ole was involved. And we set up
mm,
as a counter-attacking team. We just played the long ball. We didn't fuck around with passing, passing out from the back, etc. And it was just something that subtle changes make big differences, right, over time. And that's exactly what I think Ten Hag's kind of reverted to, saying, okay,
mm.
that's what's worked in the past. These players are trained that way. Let's go ahead and do that. And it worked like a charm. And whether it was a function of we wanted it more or Liverpool not having their A team per se, um, with all the injuries and etc. and etc. It just kind of worked out well and worked out really well. It did because I think we took some of the confidence into the Southampton game.
Yeah, look, and I think big shout out to two key players that we brought in this summer.
Yep.
Tyrell Malacia, of course, I think grand total of 50 pounds, and Lisandro Martinez, who was I think 50 to 55 pounds. So total of less than 100 million, and I think they've just transformed the team. Chai, I
Yep.
honestly feel I think Luke Shaw is pretty much the second left back right now for United.
Yep.
Maguire is probably not going to start another game anytime soon. Captaincy, who knows what's going to happen to that?
Yep.
I think dude. I think the new players have really shown how bad our players have been, right, in the past. And
Absolutely.
it's taken us what 3 to 4 games to realize how crap Luke Shaw and Maguire have been all this while. And I
Hmm.
think I think the aggressiveness from Martinez, and I think the calmness of Malasia as well, Chai. In the last game against Southampton, there were so many times where he was cornered by two players, and he was
Hmm.
just so calm. Apart from that one pass that he
Yeah.
passed it, the Southampton player. I think he's so calm under pressure, him and Martinez,
Yeah.
that I think that just breeds confidence to the rest of the team.
Absolutely. I think big shout out to those two guys. I think Martinez brings that passion that we didn't have in the back line. I think there's more communication within the back four now. Okay, let's leave Dallo because there's some room for improvement for him defensively at least. But
Mm,
with the passion of Martinez and the calmness of Varane, let's not forget him because he's been like the Rolls Royce ish kind of defender who just gets the job done, very steady, no I mean, there will be mistakes in him in the future, but then he's just so calm. I think the back four is kind of settling down into something that we can take forward day in and day out, right? Or a game in, game out. So I think, look, we needed to make those changes. I think we did, and I think it's working out. What's more important is De Gea is a lot more comfortable when Varane and Martinez play. So I think
yeah,
there's that shield for him as well. And look, man, Malacia, big shout out to him. I think there's more communication. That's all I can see, right? So there's more communication. People go keep high fiving each other when there's a good tackle, when the ball's headed out. That's what we've lacked when Maguire plays, right? Or Maguire and Lindelof, because I think they're not those kind of personalities that drive changes within
yeah,
or drive confidence within other players as well to do their stuff. They're
yeah.
very they don't have that big
They don't lead by
personalities.
example, Chai, I think.
Correct. And they don't
I
have
think,
those personalities to lead by example as well, Gary. So I think both
yeah.
Varane and Martinez hopefully will be a partnership that we were looking for, probably 3 seasons ago. And it's taken 3 seasons and 3 games in this current season to kind of marry them up, right?
Mm. Yeah, look, the defense has been really impressive in the last two
Yeah.
games, I think. And then
Yeah.
let's look at the midfield now. So there's no McFred. Thankfully, there's no McFred.
Exactly.
But
Yes.
McTominay, for whatever reason, has kept his place on. He's playing in a double pivot with Ericsson,
Yeah.
Mac Rickson, if you want to call it. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's her name. Bruno has kept his place. In fact, he's the captain now.
Yeah.
How do you see that midfield working out? Forget about the first two games. I'm just talking about Liverpool and the um,
The
the Southampton
Southampton one.
game. Yeah, how did you see them?
Look, I I can talk more about the Southampton game because I think there was a definite change in changing the way we set up against them versus Liverpool. So first, talking about the Southampton game, I think Ericsson played in a Pirlo kind of a role for Milan, right? So or Juventus, whichever way you want to look at it. So he was deep. He was the quarterback putting the balls forward. So I don't know if it's his best position, but
Mm,
I would rather like to see him a little up the field as to where he used to traditionally pick up balls, right? He was picking up balls where McTominay should have been, right?
mm,
Coming in deep, picking up the ball, and trying to run forward. I never envisaged Ericsson's qualities to be that, but then he has a good
yeah.
pass in him, so I don't know if that's the way they're working toward. Um, the other thing that will change eventually is Casemiro will come up, will play instead of McTominay, and that's something that I would like to see happening right from the next game against Leicester. Right, I think he has to play, he has to replace McTominay, and if that happens, I don't think Eriksen comes that deep. So
Mm,
I think the midfield will remain with Bruno, Eriksen, and Casemiro. Um, but then the positionally, I think Eriksen will play a lot higher up the pitch. Talking about Bruno very quickly, man, I think he's so careless in possession, right? He's always looking for that pass, and he goddamn frustrates the hell out of me. It doesn't. I mean, I don't know what's with him, man. He can't retain possession. And I read this weird stat in the morning, I think, saying in the first half, Bruno's pass completion rate was around the 57%.
50.
And that's not good enough, right? It's not good
Yeah.
enough.
The thing about I just think with the midfield, if so, the basically midfield would dictate how we want to play, whether it's possession style or whether we go with counter-attacking style. Now, if you're going to go with a counter-attacking style, fine, you can have McTominay, you can have Casemiro, and maybe Bruno there.
Yeah.
Because really, the end game, we're trying to win the ball back as quickly as you can and pass it on to our forwards. Okay,
Yeah.
counter-attack. Now, if you're going to play a possession style football, I don't see how McTominay and Bruno kind of fit in that mold because they're very, very careless, as you mentioned. We can't hold on to the ball. If you can't hold on to the ball, then there's no chance for the attackers to get the ball, right? So
Yeah.
there's less times that the ball is going to be in the final third, and we're unnecessarily putting more pressure on our defense.
Hmm.
So I think Ten Hag knows this.
Yeah.
What we saw in Southampton, at least, was not Ten Hag football.
No.
He's very much a possession-based football manager, and so
Yeah.
I can see a sense where I think Casemiro will come in. He will
Yep.
basically be the number six for our team, and then I
Mm-hmm.
can see, uh, double pivot of number eights with
Ericsson and
Ericsson and Bruno, or
Casemiro.
Ericsson and Donny or someone. I think we need to, yeah, we need to change that formation because I think that Southampton game, which I just felt like we did not hold on to the ball enough, and the change there.
Absolutely.
This is
I think we stopped playing football after we scored, and that's I don't know why we've reverted to that shit that we saw under the last few days under Ole. We
yeah.
score and we just stop playing football. It's not even a big lead, right? Things can happen. You can, a small mistake would result in a goal. But I tell you something, right? I was extremely uncomfortable with the amount of possession Southampton were having, but very rarely did I feel like they were going to score. And this is
Hmm.
never the case when Shaw and Maguire are there, right? Or Lindelof and Maguire. I always felt that they had a goal in them, but these two, Rafa Varane and Martinez, I think they gave me a sense of security. Okay, you can drop it, but I didn't. Look, man, I was texting you yesterday as well, right? They stopped playing football.
We stopped playing football, Chai. We stopped playing football, and took on. we put a lot of unnecessary pressure on our defense. I felt
Yes.
anyway,
Hmm.
and there was a chance I think towards the end when that guy did an overhead kick, could have
Yep.
easily gone in.
Yep.
We were basically under siege for the last 10 minutes of the game,
Correct.
and the midfield. Look, De Gea, he's not able to play possession based football, right? So he's punting up the ball.
Correct.
Unfortunately, it's going to Southampton players, and
Hmm.
then it's coming back to us, and there's just no control. So it's one of the things that I think will get fixed eventually with the new keeper. Whether that
Hmm.
happens now or we wait until January when we go and inevitably get back Henderson,
Henderson.
or I think something's got to change because I
I
think
think.
eventually
Go on.
with the style we want to play, I think the changes need to be in there.
Yeah, talking about that, I think we can look forward to a little bit more Ten Hag style football, provided he gets the personnel that he needs, right? And before we actually look into what probable transfers could happen, I think yesterday's game was crying out for a player like Anthony that we're in for, right?
Hmm.
Not Anthony Elanga, but Anthony
Which Anthony, I'm
which I mean,
here.
that's there are three goddamn Anthonys, or will be three
Uh,
goddamn Anthonys in
uh,
the club with Anthony Marshall, Anthony Elanga, and but anyway, so that we, although I felt our forwards were toothless against Southampton
hmm,
yesterday, and
hmm,
it just the one goal that we did score was a piece of good football, and it doesn't happen it's a low probability sort of a goal, right? And it doesn't
hmm,
happen very frequently with us. That kind of movement, the kind of passing and stuff like that.
hmm,
I genuinely, I don't remember us having a clear cut chance except for the two, one that Ericsson just cuffed, and the goal itself. I don't see us. I don't see if we really had a shot on goal or we put some passes together in the final third. Very disappointing. So I was crying out for some creative player, at least in the wings, right? And Elanga is just
hmm.
not good enough. So let's move past him very quickly. I don't know what you think.
I think it was hard. I think it was a function of many things that kind of played
Hmm.
into why our football was not great. I think one of it is you can't look past the midfield. I think the midfield was not good enough, and so
Yeah.
the link up between the attack and the defense was non-existent.
Hmm.
Basically, we couldn't retain the ball. And I just want to ask you as well, Chai. We know Elanga's quality is what it is. He's not going to
Hmm.
improve. He's at best a squad player, but I am more concerned about Jadon Sancho, and the reason being, look, I know his qualities. He's a really good footballer, technical footballer.
Hmm.
But when you look at the Premier League and how the fullbacks of the other team kind of pressure you and how quick
Hmm.
they are, do you think Jadon Sancho is suited to play on the wing, or do you think he's better suited to play as a number 10 or even a false nine in against the tougher or more physical teams?
Look, Jadon Sancho has the skills and he needs players around him to actually string through passes and stuff like that. So he's very good one touch. He has that quality of one touch passing and stuff like that, right? What we didn't see yesterday, and that's where it's coming back to how we were set up, was when Jadon Sancho picks up the ball, he's picking it up in its halfway line, right? And there were so many times he looks up, there's nobody else there, because I,
Yeah.
I have a feeling the function of Sancho's performance yesterday has something to do with Rashford's performance as well, because they're so
Mm,
far apart on the pitch, so they can't even. I mean, Rashford has to draw closer, or Malacia has to
yeah.
overlap. Nothing of that sort happened yesterday. So when you pick up the ball, you're the only one who's. When you look up, there's no one else to actually string a few passes and cover the
Mm.
pitch. Right? It was very disappointing to see, and that's where I think he's not like a Martial who'll take on two, three players and
Yeah.
just beat them for
And
pace
and
and
there were
stuff like that.
times,
Right?
Chai, when he had we were on the break, he'd get the ball,
Yes.
and I just felt like he would slow down the play for some reason. I know he doesn't have the pace, but at least try to push the ball up as far as you can and
Yeah,
force it
but
to
there
get
was
the
no
throw.
one
But
else, Gary. There was,
yeah,
I think they were under strict instructions not to do what they did against Liverpool. Maybe I don't know. That's the
mm,
only reason that I can see that why we were so limited going out, going forward, right?
yeah,
And I think for some reason we've become. I know it's not Ten Hag style, but we've become this long ball playing squad.
it's horrible.
Every time Ericsson got the ball in the halfway line, he's putting the long balls in.
Yeah.
Martinez is looking for long balls. Everybody's looking for long balls. We can't. I understand
Look,
why.
I think what's happened is that after the thumping from Brentford,
Yeah,
look, we conceded 2 goals, okay, because De Gea decided to play from the back.
yeah,
Although Tena came out after the interview and said that that was not the instruction. He wanted the team to play
mm,
long balls.
yeah,
Fine, but I think there is an issue with the keeper. And I know, look, De Gea is a fantastic shot stopper, but
mm,
there comes to a point where if you decide to play this possession-based football that
mm.
the like City and Barcelona and all want to play, then the keeper in goal is basically he's the fifth defender, right?
Correct.
And so he's got to be able to sweep and clear and come off his line, and all the things that De Gea is pretty average at. So
Yeah, but
I,
mm,
it'll
I tend
come.
to disagree. I know he's bad at that, but I don't think that's the reason why we didn't have possession yesterday. Because our midfield was looking for, we were. I don't think we played possession-based
Yeah, but
football. I don't
Chai,
think they
the
even
problem
tried.
is we kept playing long balls from De Gea. There were so many times from a goal kick position, he just kicked the
Hmm.
ball up, right? When
Yeah,
there were easy options on both sides of the pitch.
yeah,
And so I think, and you know that Southampton were going to press you. You know
yeah.
they were going to press you. It was not going to be an easy game, but I think we we kind of limited ourselves in terms of what we could do in terms of passing and holding onto the
Correct.
ball and in possession by playing that long ball, right?
Yeah,
And I think that a lot of times when De Gea would kick the ball, it would end up at the Southampton player's foot or head or what,
yeah.
and we're back on pressure. So
Agreed, man.
maybe that's part of it, but I also feel that the midfield was non-existent. There was no quality there,
Absolutely.
so there was multiple things working against us. And
But we do realize. I think we have to get used to this as well. So our midfield's not going to change tremendously. There'll be one player out in Scott McTominay. I think there'll be another replacement in Casemiro. Right
yeah,
now, if that's going to be held steady for the rest of the season, with Van de Beek being a squad player of sorts, and with De Jong not coming, which I don't think will happen anyway. Um, Basically, we stuck with the three-man midfield where Bruno's running away, trying to be a champion on the other end. But I think then we're just looking at Ericsson and Casemiro. Casemiro will play a defensive mid, let's say, but there will be that box to box in Ericsson. That's what I think will happen, right? Then we're we will never maintain the possession. we will not be like a Xavi and yes, the Busquets. That it is not going to happen
It's not
because
that.
everybody know that they'll be in the midfield and they'll play out the ball from the midfield. What's happening now and how we're set up is for Eriksen to put that ball through for Rashford to use the space and get through the ball. It will work against defenses which play a high line like Liverpool, but it won't work against people who use a low block, right? It's going to be very difficult to break that defense through. Now, I don't know if he's going to adjust it. I don't know if it's a function of players that we have versus what they're trained to do, or Ten Hag will take a bit of time to put a
His
mark on
methods
this.
too. Yeah.
Having said that, Southampton was a nervy game. Liverpool was a better performance. We head to
Mm.
Leicester, and I know there was a game coming up on Thursday, right? Thursday night UK time.
Yeah.
There was. I don't know what it is with these new managers and stuff like that that we have to take a lot of time to make substitutions. I believe he had to make those substitutions around the 60th minute because post that is when we saw a lot of pressure from Southampton. I don't know what your
Yeah.
thoughts are on it.
No, no, I agree. I just couldn't understand why Casemiro was introduced so late into the game. I knew we were losing the midfield battle. We needed to bring more physicality there. I think
Yeah.
Casemiro would have been ideal to bring on there, especially when you look at Ericsson, where he was kind of tiring out towards the end of the game.
Yes.
I
Yes.
think it was probably good to bring Casemiro in, and in fact, even Fred. I would have taken out
Correct.
Bruno. I would have taken out Ericsson, and I brought in Fred and Casemiro. Play Fred and Casemiro in midfield as a double pivot, and then move
Mm. Ericsson up
McTominay up
front.
front or
Or
whatever he wants to do, right?
yeah.
And I think those three guys there, get them in there just to bring some physicality and control the game. Then
Hmm.
even if you have to punt the ball up, you've still got these three guys to run around and shoulder barge or tackle and do
Yeah.
whatever they need to do to win the ball back. So I think that's what I would have done. I don't know why he didn't do it, and I think we brought a lot of unnecessary pressure on ourselves towards the end of the
Yeah.
game. And
Yeah.
to Chai, I was nervous towards the end. I'm honestly,
Oh,
because the
yeah.
3 points was we needed the 3 points badly.
Right.
So I don't know why these managers, even when you look at Klopp, even Guardiola, they've all got these they just got this reason of not bringing on players early on, and I don't know
Yeah.
why. Maybe they're worried about the rhythm being disrupted or whatever it is. I just feel like we could have brought the subs on earlier and
Yeah.
could given us a lot more confidence going to close the game out.
Absolutely. And talking about substitutions, Ronaldo did make an appearance. Do you think it'll be his last, or what do you think will happen with that?
Who's gonna buy him? I don't know.
Yeah.
they, they think there's talks about Sporting wanting to buy him, so I don't
Yeah.
know. If he goes to Sporting, I don't know if they've got the salary or the wage structure to fund his move there.
Yeah.
If they do, then well and good. There's talks of Napoli wanting him, where I think we'll work out some sort of a swap deal with Victor Osimhen,
Yeah.
wants to come across, so it'll be a swap deal with him. And I don't know if it's a loan move for Ronaldo or whether it's a permanent thing, but there's
Yeah.
talks of us taking on the majority of his salary
Salary.
if
Yeah.
it's a loan, which is stupid for me. I think, look, end of the day, I think Ronaldo finally realizes that he's done. I think he's realized it is done because you've played at the highest level for so many years. You've
Hmm.
won so many Ballon d'Ors. You won so many Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues, La Ligas, whatever it is.
Mm.
Now you've come to a point where no one wants you, right? And I feel sad for him. I feel sad for him
Mm.
because he's done so much in this game. He has been that one player who could take Messi on toe to toe,
Yeah.
and he's won over Messi a few times. So I think it's sad to see his legacy come to what it is now. I think he should have retired a year or two ago, but it's come to a point where he might get one big move, Chai,
Yeah.
whether it's Napoli or whether it's Sporting, but I think that's about it, right?
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
this is-
look, I think he needs to change the way he plays as well, right? And Ibra does it who's older than him, by the way, he still
Mm,
does it, right? And he plays in positions that requires less physicality, not physicality in terms of you know defenders around you, but I
but
think
speed
he's
and
just
pace and
exactly that's what I
yeah,
mean. So I think it might just be a mindset shift and how people want to use him. I think there's still some bandwidth left for him, but definitely not in the Premier League and definitely not in the not at United, and that's
yeah,
very clear to see, right? You can't keep him on the bench. He's a high profile player that he'll create more problems on the bench, sitting on the bench, than he'll solve for the psyche of the other players around him. That's my opinion,
yeah,
and I think it's a relationship that will only deteriorate if he continues to stay with the club. So I would rather have him leave the club, a bit more of a positive fashion than it going down the route of ruining relationships. That's basically where
yeah.
my
And the funny thing is, we came to the season where you had a section of people who wanted Ronaldo out. You had a section of fans who wanted Maguire out.
mm,
But what's happened is both of these players are out.
yeah,
So, which is quite surprising if you ask me. I think I believe in what the manager wants to do. I can
yeah,
see the difference. I think he needs all the support and the tools to get us to where we need to be. So I'm
hmm,
fully behind him.
hmm,
And I think, we'll talk about transfers very quickly. I think Anthony is looking quite likely that he wants to come in. We've
yeah,
had two or three bids now rejected, one at
yeah,
90 million euros, which is astronomical for
yeah,
a player not really, proven himself, I feel personally. But I believe in the manager, and I feel that if the manager wants a player for a specific reason to fit his team, then
yeah.
I think we need to
We
do
should
all
give
we
him that.
can to back him and get the player he wants. So I think Anthony is a player I can see potentially happening,
Mm,
and also a goalkeeper potentially coming in. I think there's a talk of another goalkeeper coming in, the Newcastle keeper. I can't remember his name now, but yeah, look, it's a. I don't know, how would you rate this transfer window
Ah,
out of
fucking shambolic, right? So look, I think we've overpaid for every resource that we got.
yeah,
We should be thankful that Malacia and Martinez are good. The performances have been good and steady and commendable over the last couple of games. I mean, look, we shouldn't be overpaying for Anthony. If this was June,
hmm,
the price tag would have been 55 million. We would have gotten him then, and then we would have just shut up shop, right? Why do we always scramble at the last minute? Casemiro wasn't in the plans as well. Now Casemiro and Eriksen are good midfield buys. They were definite upgrades from what we had. We needed them, but how can you waste so much time talking to De Jong and then in the last minute say, oh, okay, you know what, Casemiro is available, maybe he'll come and get him. So I don't think it's anything. How do I put this? I don't think the I think the players we've gotten are better than what we had. But I don't
hmm,
think this is the players that the manager had in mind. Now he's
hmm,
having to fit or adapt his style of play based on what we could get for him. Right?
yeah,
I'm happy with the personnel we bought in. I'm not happy with the price tag we paid. I'm not happy with the chaos that our transfer window was. Right? And if we
yeah.
don't get Anthony, it's a fucking terrible window. Let's be
We
honest.
we need we need an attacker, Chai. I think
Yeah.
regardless of whether Ronaldo leaves or goes, because I just look at our attack and we are
There are no goals there, Gary. There are no
there's
goals there.
no goals, there's no creativity. I look at, if Martial's not playing, then there's nothing up front. It's probably now more critical than the midfield, I'd say.
Correct.
Now, probably if we had performed a lot better, I think that some people would say that, okay, you probably need another midfielder in there. Now
Yeah.
that we've got Casemiro, I'm quite happy with the midfield, but I
Mm,
still think the attack needs massive reinforcements. I think we need
100%.
at least two players, Chai, if we're gonna have any chance.
Man, when you look back at the United's back through the years when we were at the top of our game, we had invariably a striker who'd give us 30 plus goals a season,
Easy.
be Nistelrooy or be it
Dwight
After
York,
Nistelrooy was
Cole.
Rooney, Ronaldo. We had a person who would guarantee 30 plus goals a season, right?
Mm,
And that nobody has reached within United 30 plus. That number hasn't happened since Ferguson left, I don't think. I mean,
mm,
correct me if I'm wrong. But we don't. Where are the goals coming from? Rashford can't. His best season was about 25, 30 goals a season. That's his
mm,
best, including all competitions. I don't. Yesterday, from what he's shown me, he doesn't have the
mm.
grit to play number nine, right? I don't know
I think,
whether.
look, I think Rashford's in a difficult position because I think the plan was always for him to start on the left. I think
Yeah,
he's proven that he's effective on the left. Up front, I don't see him as a striker up front in the system that we want to play because he can't play with his back against the goal.
correct.
So he doesn't do the link up play really well. He's a guy who's going to run past the last man
Yeah.
and hit the team on the counter attack. So I kind of felt for him yesterday because if Martial was fit, then
Mm-hmm.
Martial plays number nine, Rashford
Yes,
left, and Sancho on the right.
correct.
Now with Martial being injured, and for whatever reason, Ten Hag doesn't believe in Ronaldo, Rashford's
Mm,
got to go up front,
yeah.
Martial, Sancho on the left, and now Elanga on the right. So it just shows me how fragile we are, Chai, in terms
Yeah.
of personnel. One injury and that's it. The whole attack just collapses. I think we've got to buy another striker. I think we've got to buy another striker, and I'm convinced Ronaldo's going to go. But
Yeah.
whether another club comes in for him, I don't know. We need another striker, and we need Anthony to come in. Um, with those two players coming in, I think we'll have a better chance going to this season, even if Martial gets injured, which he inherently does quite often every season. um, yeah, I'm just concerned about the attack, but hopefully, we keep Martial fit, we buy another striker, and we get Anthony, and also it gives us a lot more competition. I think, going to the season.
Absolutely, and not only for as a we don't necessarily strengthen. Not necessarily. It's a wrong choice of word. So basically, we need players. We need strikers not only for the main team, but we need some squad strikers as well. Now, the
Yeah,
reason I say that is now the Europa League starts, all the competitions start. There'll be people going away for the World Cup and stuff like that. We need someone to kind of hold the fort, right?
mhm.
So, regardless of what it is, I think it'll take another couple of transfer windows minimum to at least bring us to a standard where we can even think about, oh, top four is guaranteed, and then we build on that squad. I think we just need at least 2 or 3 transfer windows to do it, and continuous investments into the squad. Right? That's the way I see us
Yeah,
even challenging for something reasonable.
yeah. So
On
we got
that,
Leicester coming up.
yeah, Leicester coming
Just
up.
quickly,
Leicester coming up. I don't know.
predictions.
It'll be an interesting game. It's an away game. It's a Thursday night game in the UK. So I don't know. It's considering how players I think were pulling up yesterday and how lethargic they were in the last 15 minutes because they're definitely tired. I don't know. I don't know what to expect from the game. I think
Mm.
it'll be a draw. I think it'll. I don't know. I'm getting that weird feeling of Leicester City. I always have it. So we'll see
They
what
all
happens.
such a bogey team. Yeah, I will say for once, I think we will actually
Oh,
win this game.
shit.
2-0.
And done.
2-0.
And done. We're
Whether
not winning that.
that jinx happens, I don't know, but I think we're going to win 2-0. And
Look,
yeah,
I think it'll be a draw. I think it'll be a. If they score first, we're not winning. 100%. We're
done.
not. We're not winning. But yeah, I'm going for it. At least a 1-1 draw. I think we'll see what happens.
1-1. Okay, I'll go 2-2. Okay. And then
Hmm.
just very quickly as well, because I'm not sure when we'll do the next show, but the Arsenal game, which is also coming up after that on the Sunday night in the UK, I believe.
Man, I think Arsenal's having. I, I don't know. I think they're playing well. I think they're playing well. They're very confident. I don't see us getting anything from it, but it'll be an important
We
game
are playing at home
nonetheless.
though, Chai. So
Yeah, I mean they're the only team who haven't lost this season still,
yeah,
or even drawn, right? the
Yeah,
100% win record, right?
yeah,
So
12
I
points.
thought Fulham came close when they scored first, but I think they came back as well. And funny things are happening in the league. Chelsea winning with
Nine, 10
10
man, yeah.
players, 10 men,
City
9
went
nil
2-0 down,
bloody
Chai.
2-0 to win 4-2. And
Uh,
it's Haaland hat trick. Now, you don't even get me started on Liverpool. I don't know how they won fucking 9-0. It's just,
hey, by the way,
they just,
all these Liverpool fans out there, I think they just need to calm down. I think Liverpool's got a core team who's been there for, donkey's years. I think they may not play to the level of where they played last season, but I still think the team will be challenging for the title. I see them
yeah.
picking up points going forward, and there's potentially they could buy another midfielder before the transfer window ends. So I think
Yeah.
they just need to be relaxed. So I think
No, man. I think they were playing out of frustrations or whatever it was. I think they just, man, they turned Bournemouth, they tore Bournemouth a new one, right? Like
yeah.
9-0, and they were 5-0 at halftime, right? It was watching. It was
Firmino came out of
watching.
his grave and said,
Oh
"Yes, I'm
man,
here."
exactly. I don't. And you know what the worst part is? I took him out of my FPL team.
Dude, don't even
Oh,
start. I've not changed my FPL team. I'm not going to change. Maybe
dude, you still have Martial in your team. Martial's dead and
I
buried somewhere. I don't know.
can't change. There's always hope. Martial comes back. I'll be so pissed if he gets injured again, Chai. I
I think they'll
swear.
sell him, dude. And Martial will still be team.
He'll still be injured. God.
Uh, on that note, Gary,
Yeah.
um, good chat as always. And look, we'll do another video post the Arsenal game or the Leicester game, depending on how things pan out. It's been a good week. Hopefully, the transfers come in. And if you guys like our content, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. So we'll see you after the Leicester game, maybe. Right, Gary?
Yep, that's
Until
it.
then, this is Chai with Gary, signing off.
Yeah.